Holy moly, this is quite a crowd. You guys get up really late. We warned you to come early, right? Okay, so this is a question and answer session. I will take all questions. Anything to do with loving cats worldwide? Nothing else. Yeah? For you guys that are just joining us now, we at about 2:15 here. 2:15, I'm going to judge the VIC class, which is 30 of the best cats in the show, and then I will do a very dramatic final presentation for you after that. So about 2:15. So let's go. Anyone? Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, little man.
How many breeds are there?
Okay, so the question is, how many breeds of cat are there? We have over 70 different breeds of cats. Did you guys know that? Crazy, right? Okay, and we see a lot of breeds of cat in very geographic areas. So in the United Kingdom, we see a lot of British Shorthairs, which makes sense. A lot of Maine Coons, a lot of Siberians. In the northeast part of the United States, we see a lot of Maine Coons. California, Ragdolls and Bengals. It's a lot depending on the area. I say all the time for the shows, we only take 130 cats for entry into the show because of the amount of engagement that the judges do. It's very difficult to do any more than 130 cats. And at times, you're not going to see your favorite cat here maybe, but we are at the mercy of whoever enters. So there's a lot of British here, a lot of Maine Coons, and a lot of Siberians. Makes sense. That was a long answer to your question. Yeah? Anyone else? Sir?
Talking about the breeds, is there an international standard? Who sets the standard?
Okay, yeah, so there are a lot of different cat associations in the world. Did you guys know this? So in the United Kingdom, the oldest registration body for cats is called the Governing Council. So the GCCF, the Governing Council of the Cat Fancy. It's the oldest, most established registry in the world. In the United States, we have the Cat Fanciers Association, and then we have TICA, the International Cat Association, and then we have us, the new kids on the block, shaking things up, making it a little bit more interesting for everybody. So every single organization sets their own standards, but generally speaking, the standards are the same. For you guys that don't understand, every breed of cat has a standard of points, like a dog show would have as well. So for the Maine Coon, we're on 100 points. A certain amount of points for the musculature, the squareness to the muzzle, the set of the ears, the size of the eyes. So every single cat has this standard written for it. So when you're seeing the judges and they're doing their final presentations and they're doing 10 to 1, or you're watching me online and I'm going to say this is my 4th best all-breed cat, there are 3 others that I feel fit the standard of points closer, if that makes sense. So we're here to do our educated opinion on the particular cats that are in the show. Ma'am. Sorry?
How do you become a judge?
How do you become a judge? Well, do you guys want to be judges? Yeah? I'm trying to get it on the college applications at some point, but so how do you become a judge? With us, number 1, you need to get involved. Get a cat. Hopefully everybody has a cat, right? We have a household pet class. Did you know this? So we have a household pet class, which is a Moggy class. So we judge these guys based on personality, cleanliness, whether or not they bite me. They shouldn't, by the way. So, and that's your best way in to begin with, is you get involved, start showing the cats. Go to a couple shows, get a couple under your belt, start getting involved with the show teams, helping with check-in, helping with registrations, helping in the rings, really start to get involved. eventually, at some point, and we don't have any, in some other associations, there are very strict guidelines of who can apply for the judging program, but for us, we open the applications for everybody. We want you to love cats, but we want you to be involved. We don't mandate that you breed. In this day and age, I and us find that a little bit unethical. If you do not want to breed, but you want to be a cat judge and have a good eye and can put on and can engage you guys, why would we put any roadblocks in there? So that's the number one way in is to do that, and you start to ring train immediately. You can see in ring number 1, Tiago's training, and I think in ring number 3, Kazumi is training. You start in ring training, and there's no set time to your limit. You get your license when you're ready. Could take a year, could take 5 years. It just depends on your level. You have to memorize those 70 standards, right? Or at least have an idea. Yeah? Oop, 1 sec.
What made you passionate about cats and how did you get into it?
Okay, so what made me passionate about cats personally? That is a personal question, but I will answer it. So funny story about me and my cat fancy journey. I saw an advertisement in the newspaper. I was very young, just able to read, right? Advertisement in the newspaper that said toy leopards. And this was in the early 90s. And I actually was intrigued by what that meant. I never had cats growing up. I always had dogs, but I always really was that guy at a party that would always, hang out with the animals, right? So I went up and I was living in Boston, Mass, and I went up to New Hampshire and I met this nice lady that had gotten Bengals from the creator of the Bengal breed. I paid for my young male, his name was Alex, and he was just gonna be my buddy. And they said to me, the Bengal is just coming up for registration in some of the organizations. It would be great if you could put him into a show. And I'm like, nah. That sounds absolutely bonkers. But I did. And 30 years later, here I am. So that's kind of how it started. I did stop being a crazy cat person when I grew up and went to college and had to get a job. I have a background in public relations and marketing. Makes sense, right? Okay. What's that?
Rarest breed you have here. Rarest breed.
Rarest. The question is, what is the rarest breed we have at the show this weekend? And that actually is the Nebelong. Did you guys see that? You're on the catwalk. The Nebelong is essentially a long-haired Russian blue. So, and the Nebelong is, I believe, a German name for like mist. And if you look at a Nebelong from the back, they're supposed to be misty through the light, in theory. But they're a very pretty blue cat with green eyes. And she's here. Hopefully you can find her at some point. Okay, down here. That's you.
In the Maine Coons, which is more affectionate, male or female?
Okay, so the question is for Maine Coon, which is more affectionate, a male or a female? Well, if I was going to straight up stereotype, males are normally a bit more affectionate in all cat breeds. But that's not 100% true, but it kind of leans that way in general. Yeah, males are. Yeah. Okay, next. Anyone? Yes? Ancient? How many ancient breeds? Ooh, so we have, it's kind of an interesting question. The question is, how many ancient breeds are there? Cats have existed alongside humans for thousands of years, right? I would say the ancient breeds that have existed, that have developed into the breeds we have now, Egyptian Mau, Abyssinian. Korat, Kalmani, from Thailand, Siamese, Persian. Yeah? A lot of the other breeds are natural breeds that were developed into a breed by humans. So Siberian cats, they're a Russian natural long-haired cat existing outside in Russia for thousands of years. Someone decided to start to create a consistency in the breed, and that's how something happened. Maine Coon, a natural long-haired cat from the United States. Consistency in a breed, and then moves forward that way. So, but those ancient breeds, you know, a lot of the breeds from what was formerly known as Siam or Thailand are still around. The Kalmani, which is a solid white cat with sometimes odd eyes, you can literally go to Thailand and they're all over the place. If you could get the proper export paperwork, you could bring one into the UK. It's a bit difficult, but you could do it. It's possible. And then that Kalmani would actually be registerable with most associations in the world. Very few breeds can do that. You can't just grab a cat that you think might be a Maine Coon and register it as a Maine Coon. There has to be some sort of paper trail. Yeah? I get a question on that all the time. Thousands of people ask me, what breed is my cat? All the time, right? It's very difficult in cats to see. If you have a dog that is part Rottweiler, you know it's part Rottweiler, right? Or Doberman, or Golden Retriever. With cats, they're smaller, so they don't actually look a whole lot like the breed that you might think they are. The only way to prove a cat is indeed a Maine Coon or a Norwegian forest cat is really with a pedigree and a paper trail. Even a DNA test, which is still kind of subjective, is not going to prove a whole lot of anything. You don't have a pedigree cat unless you have a pedigree on that cat. Make sense?
Why and how often cats have different color eyes?
So why and how often do cats have two different color eyes? Anybody have an odd-eyed cat? No? It's pretty rare to have an odd-eyed cat. You see an odd-eyed cat in some particular breeds, Kalmani, Turkish Angora. A lot of times when you have a cat with a lot of white or all white, they will have a higher degree of odd eyes or blue eyes. A cat with blue eyes, that's solid white, has a very high percentage to be deaf as well. It's kind of linked genetically to deafness. But odd eyes are and it's very, very rare to have a cat with blue eyes that has no white at all. The blue-eyed is linked to pretty much a white cat. But blue eyes are also in a Siamese. But a Siamese, that's unique to the Siamese. They're pointed cats. When we say a Siamese is a pointed cat, which they are, they all have blue eyes and then darker color on their points. The ears, the face, the legs, and the tail. Good?
Between a Maine Coon and a British short hair, what's a better cat
What's the better cat for what?
Indoor cat.
Okay, so the question is between a British Shorthair and a Maine Coon, which is better as an indoor cat? Well, I will stand up in here and say all cats should be kept indoors. I mean, anything that you can't control in your life with your pet should be kept indoors, unless you have the ability to secure your garden. I would have a panic attack, if my cat was allowed outside. I don't trust them at all. You know what I mean? Pedigree cats in general, they're not very smart, to be honest. You know what I mean? That's kind of they're bred for show, and shouldn't be allowed outside. So number one. Number two, so between a British and a Maine Coon. British are very popular here in this country, right? But they also are a little bit on the reserved side, like the British people. They want to be with you, but they don't want to be on you. They don't want to, they're okay to say hi, but they don't want to sit on your lap. Yeah? They're okay for you to feed them, but that's about it. Maine Coon's a little bit more friendly and a little bit more attentive to humans. Both okay for apartment living and indoor living. We get this question all the time about cats being outside. Oh, but I don't want to deprive them of being outside. They don't care. They don't care because they don't know. They don't know what they don't know anything about the outside. So they're not missing anything, you know, contrary to what they may tell you. They're not missing anything, and they are very content living in a small flat in London because that's their territory, and they'll own that territory, and believe me, they don't care. It's the same thing with, you should always spay or neuter every single cat and do your part. The female cats are not missing out on anything. They don't care, and they don't care, and they don't want to have a litter of kittens. They don't want it. It's a pain, you know. It's messy, you know. No one wants to do that. So get your cat spayed or neutered as well. Okay, you all opening up now. Tell me.
When you're judging a cat,
Yeah.
how do you work out what type of cat, like the ideal cat looks like?
Okay, so the question is, when you're judging a cat, how do you know what the ideal cat is? You know, like I said, there's a standard of points, right? So we're not mathematically adding everything up in our head, right? I mean, we're not mathematicians. But I know from judging for so long and experience what, in my opinion, a Maine Coon should look like. And now, cat judging is subjective. You know, my interpretation of that standard of points might be different than my colleague's interpretation of the standard of points, but we generally should be all the same. So in a Maine Coon, let's say, we'll use the Maine Coon, ears large, wide at the base, set at 11 and 1. Boom, boom. We have that, check. Muzzle, strong, square, wide nose, check. Eyes, large, oval, check. Body, long, rectangular, check. Tail, long as the body, check. Back legs straight, check. That's kind of what we do on every single cat. And then when we get to the point where they are, let's say, everything checks out and they are indeed a Maine Coon, and then we have to weigh them against the other Maine Coons in the class, and then we have to weigh them against the other cats of all breeds in their class. Make sense? So we try not to be we don't have favorites, you know, like we have to keep everything open and, you know, and award the cat that is, in my opinion, the closest to that 100%. So, yes?
How do you get into showing cats, like the household ones?
How do you do it? Okay, that's a great question for you guys. You know what's really cool about this show in London? We have about 100 and something cats entered. And about 60 exhibitors, because there's some exhibitors have more than one. And of those 60 exhibitors, about 40 of them, this is their first show. So everybody's new. You know, we are uncovering a lot of people in what we're doing, right? You know, for you to get involved. So the number one thing for you guys, if you want to show your cat, we're back in London next time this year. We go to Brighton in March, and we go to Sandown Park in Esher, which is quite close, in July. You go to the website where you bought the tickets, right? Or go to the website, that area. There's a place where it says enter your cat. Enter your cat, you put in all the relevant information that you actually know. The color, the age, long hair, short hair, and you enter. If there's any questions, like maybe you'll put in a color that's like calico. We don't call a cat calico, we call them tortoiseshell and white. So we'll fix all that, and then we send an email back letting you know exactly what you need to bring, exactly what time to be here, exactly what's going to happen. In the beginning of every show, we do a new exhibitor induction. We're in the UK. We do a new exhibitor induction in one of the rings with one of the judges for you to understand what's going on. It's quite hectic. I mean, this is the first show for a lot of people. There's a lot of you guys here. And you go, every single cat in the show goes to the 5 judges today and the 5 judges tomorrow. Every judge does the exact same thing. We have a kitten class, a junior class, an adult class, a pedigree alter or neuters and spays, and the household pets. So you go to the ring number 1 with the household pet class. He will rate you in the preliminary judging and then do his best in show for the household pet class. And you do that in the other 4 rings as well, and then again tomorrow, which is kind of cool. So if one judge unfortunately doesn't rate you very high, maybe another one will. So that's kind of how it goes. So it's really interesting. At the end of, so when you guys can get over there at some point, those judges are doing 5 individual best in shows in each ring. So they're doing their preliminary judging for the kitten class, ranking those cats, and then going and doing a final presentation for each class. So they each do those 5 presentations a day, which is cool. At the end of the weekend, on Sunday, we do an overall best in show. And that is a cumulative award where we award the top 3 of those classes. And then the judges vote for an overall best in show of the entire show. This show is happening. These cats are competing against other cats here, but they're also competing against all the cats in the United Kingdom, all the cats in Europe, United States, Japan, Philippines, and South America. And believe it or not, we have a international show that we award the top 20 for the entire year. Make sense? I'm going to quiz you later. That was a long answer to your question, but you're welcome. Yeah? Anyone else? Sorry. Tell me again. One more time. Come closer. Okay, cool. So the question is about the rescue situation and the profits of the foundation. Where do the profits go to? Just so you're aware, we invite as many rescues to take part in every event worldwide. For some reason in the United Kingdom, it's a tough nut to crack right now, and we're doing our best. In the United States, we have sometimes 40 rescue groups here. We offer them free space, we offer them free marketing, and we do our part to make sure that they increase the visibility. In Sacramento last weekend, we had over 100 adoptions right from the show. It's just not in the culture here in the United Kingdom for the rescues to bring cats, unfortunately. I don't really understand it because you couldn't get a better demographic, right? 1% of the total annual ticket sales for all of our shows worldwide go to the Meserve Foundation. And the Meserve Foundation is a brand new nonprofit that was set up for education, for scholarship opportunities, for standing ready to help in disaster relief, any sort of problems with natural disasters, unfortunate hoarding experiences. So we're just getting off of our feet in that as well. You'll see me personally less in this capacity and more in the Meserve Foundation in the coming years, which is really important. It's the only organization in the world that's doing what we're doing, and with the amount of people that we're having at our events, let's not forget we're in London Olympia, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? But, so we're doing our best to educate at this level on a more global scale. I live, if you guys don't know, if you haven't done a deep dive on me, I live in Portugal. And in Portugal, as much of the Mediterranean part of Europe, the rescue situation is quite dire. And there's a lot of education. I live in a very small village outside of Porto in the north. And we've been there for 4 years. I used to live here, you know, for 10 years. And we have done at least 100 trap, neuters, and release, and at least 40 kittens now live in West London that we've brought in from Portugal. So I say all the time, everybody can do their part. You know, it just takes a little bit of effort. So yeah, it's really important for us to bridge the gap between adopt, don't shop and pedigree, and we're really trying to do our best, and it's very well received with most of the rescues worldwide. So good question, thank you. Yes. No, you're good.
Is this where the Bengal presentation?
I think so, yeah. Hi.
I feel greedy, sorry.
Greedy.
I'm looking to become a Maine Coon owner. Where do I start?
Okay, so the question is from this lovely lady is she would like to add a Maine Coon to her life. So where do you start? What do you do? It's difficult, right? It's honestly difficult sometimes to actually even adopt a pet. At times you have to go through a long application process. You know, this is part of what we do. We educate we educate you guys on what questions to ask and where to go if you choose to add a pedigree cat to your life. If you choose to add a rescue to your life, absolutely. If you choose to do both, even better. But you know what? There are certain things you need to ask and you need to do. Your number one thing to do is come to an event. Not just our shows, the Governing Council of the Cat Fancy, the International Cat Association, Feline Federation, all operate in the United Kingdom. Any of the breeders and exhibitors at these shows are vested. They are here. It's not cheap to bring a cat into a show. And not necessarily the cost, but the hotel, the overnight, the petrol, everything to get the cat here. So these guys are 100% invested because they want to do what's best for their breed. That's the best place to start. The worst place to start, pets for homes. You know, in a good and bad way, because you just don't know. You don't know until you go, these guys is the best bet. So in specific breeds, there are certain things you have to ask for. In Maine Coons have a really high percentage of heart issues. It needs to be scanned for on a regular basis. It's not cheap. Someone that scans their cats on a regular basis is 100% invested, and that is something that you absolutely need to ask. Persians have a high percentage of kidney problems. British Shorthairs, high percentage of heart problems. So there are very breed-specific, Siamese have a lot of issues as well. There are very breed-specific things that you would need to ask the breeders, you know, for you to make sure that you're doing. You want to get a cat because you want that personality of that cat, and that's completely fair, right? I mean, that is 100% fair. When you do adopt a cat, you really don't know what's going to happen for the most part, other than the normal tests that are run. But a Moggy in general pretty much has a high probability of not having a lot of problems. So those are the biggest things you need to do. You need to get in contact with a breeder, and you know, if they are very standoffish with you and make you jump through a lot of hoops, just find another one. Do you know what I mean? Because it shouldn't be difficult. You need a mentor for life. This cat that you're going to add, this Maine Coon that you're going to add to your life, you know, you want them to be with you for as long as possible. So you need to make sure that there are no surprises, God forbid, in the early stages of the cat's life. You know, Maine Coon, when properly scanned and healthy and well cared for, 18 to 20 years, you know, so it's totally doable. So that's where you need to start. I recommend 100%. Okay, yes.
So one of the more niche breeds of cat that doesn't get talked about a lot is the Conrad. I was wondering, could you spend a couple of minutes
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about the Conrad?
Is this mine? Okay, the question was about the Conrad. The Conrad is an ancient breed, and this is from Thailand. So the Conrad is one of our breeds of cats that's specific by color. It's a solid blue cat. We have a bunch of solid blue cats. As you know, Russian blue, Nebelong, Conrad, Chartreux. I think there's a Chartreux in the show this weekend as well. Conrad is what was called a good luck cat. And when you're looking at their face, they should have this heart shape of a face. Have a very slick and shiny, brilliant blue coat and very, very green eyes. So that's really what we're looking for there. Again, a breed that we do not see very often at all. So, but I would love to see more. In France, we see quite a bit of Conrads. In the UK, not so much. Yeah, you're welcome. Anna? So the question is, how does the color of the fur dictate personality? It's a good question, right? So, yeah, it does. Like a tortoiseshell or a calico. How many of you guys have torties or calicos? Yeah? They are spicy, sassy. We call them naughty torties. They will tell you exactly what they think of you. Really, that's the only color that you can be almost guaranteed that they're gonna be a little bit spicy. Huh? High heels and a handbag, exactly. Yes? Yeah, oh yeah.
When you have multiple cats in a house, is it possible for some of them to just like each other for like the rest of their life? Like if they don't get along or like behavior-wise?
Basically, we have two today. One calico. They hate each other today.
Yeah, so the question is, what do you do when the cats in your house are not getting along, yeah? Man, cats are, this is why we love them, because they're jerks at times, right? They will mess up everything. Oh, we're gonna do the Bengals in a minute, yeah? So this is the final question for me. So what do you do in this aspect? If you have one cat in your house and you add another cat to your house and that original cat hates that cat, I will say 99% of the time they'll get over it. And eventually they'll be okay. Yeah, one is just wants to be alone, and as long as there's no fighting, then it shouldn't be an issue. But they eventually all get along. Sometimes there's one, I have cats in my house that they're happy, stay in the bedroom, not go near the other cats, and I just know their personality. It's just something you need to manage, unfortunately, because your only other option is to find a new home, and it's really not viable, right?
They actually go to pick up home for the cat.
Okay guys, that wraps me up.